Liam, let's start with the injury news then. How's Tene Watson getting on?
Yeah, T's picked up an injury that's going to see him out for a little while, unfortunately. So, uh, yeah, we're going to miss him for a little while. Uh, something that's obviously slightly disappointing for him, for us, but I think it's part and parcel of the game. I think it's there's no point hanging around dwelling on it. I think it's then a case of next steps for him. How can we make sure that we look after him, keep him really involved because he's been an important part of the squad for us this season. He's a bit he's an important character for the group as well. And then yeah, make sure that we look after him and get him back in as quick as possible, but as safe as possible.
I think everybody expected when Peter Kioso went back that you'd be looking to fill that position. But to be fair, since he left, Tenai's been one of those guys who's really stepped up to the mark since the turn of the year.
Yeah, and to be fair to T, even at the start of the season, Peter's level was so high that T didn't come out because he'd done anything wrong or been poor. Peter had obviously hit such a level and obviously scored some goals and done so well. And to be fair to Tene, and I spoke to him about it, what it did do is make him raise his game and raise his level. So I think from that perspective, you really saw him step up. And obviously with Peter going back, it gave him the opportunity. And to be fair to him, he's done really well. When you look at it, right side, left side. He's done well, as has Kane, obviously, who's come in and joined us. And when you look at it, it's such a demanding position in terms of how we play it physically. It is a real challenge, and obviously, so it's a blow to lose him. As it leaves us a little bit short in that area.
I mean, it's an opportunity though, isn't it, for Kane Kessler Hayden to maybe cement his uh, place in the side now.
Yeah, no, Kane's done well as well. I think he's made the step up. Obviously, we'd seen him a lot first half of the season. At Swindon, and then coming in, he's stepped up and done well. As has obviously we've got Dan back the other side. So we're strong in that area, and it might be something that we look to add to if possible in the near future.
Onto the on-field activities. I mean, it's been a tremendous run. We've mentioned it plenty of times. I mean, going into this weekend, you'll be just looking to continue the way things are going, I suspect.
Yeah, definitely. The lads have been great. It's been a tough run when you look at the travel. The I was actually looking back at it today, but you look at the size of the teams, the size of the clubs, the demands that we've placed on the players to get through to where we're at the minute, and it's really important that we take that form into the game tomorrow. It's going to be another really tough game. I have a huge amount of respect, and I think they've done a really good job, Cambridge, this year. When you look at coming up like they did, and then ultimately performing like they have and picking up the results they have. They've transitioned really well into League One. So I think it's going to be another tough game. And we had it earlier in the year, away at Doncaster, where they were off the back of a quite a heavy loss before. So I think what I expect, knowing the culture they have there as well, is obviously a bounce tomorrow. So we have to be prepared for that. We have to use the experiences we've learned from earlier in the year, and we have to try and keep pushing like we have done.
Certainly full of praise for you was Mark Bonner yesterday in his pre-match stuff, saying that that you've developed one of the best teams in the division. I mean, that must come as a great compliment to you.
Nah, and he's a good guy. I think it's one of those. Now we're going to go back and forth for compliments. I think because you look at it, he's done a terrific job there as well. It's nice to hear that, and look, be good to speak to him after the game. But yeah, they've done a terrific job. If you look at the squad, what they've built, how they've picked up points, how they've performed. He's done a terrific job. It's not easy coming up and staying up, which they'll ultimately do. So I think yeah, be good to see him, and him and his staff have done a great job there.
We were just speaking to Warren O'Hara about the previous game with Cambridge. It was one that was pretty much done and dusted early doors, wasn't it? Are you hoping to get that done again tomorrow?
Hey, in an ideal world, if I could pick how it went, obviously, of course, I would. But I don't expect that. I expect it to be a real tough game. It's completely different to the game here. When you look at it, we're almost a different team. They've made some changes as well. Being at their place, not our place. Pitch sizes. That comes into it as well. Home and away. We've obviously done quite well on the road in this one. We want to continue, but it was a first half. I remember being really good. I actually remember being disappointed with how we managed the game second half as well. Here, I thought they stepped up in terms of their press, their intensity. and we didn't adapt, which is one thing we've spoken around numerous times this year. So I think, look, we're going into the game. We know we have to be maxed out to get to perform and to get what we want from the game. And the message will be the same to the players as has been every week. We have to go in with the right attitude, the right mindset, the right discipline, the right focus, the right desire to run and compete, and then bring our quality. And that will be the same message every single week.
Given the run that you're on, though, is it frustrating then to lose the game next week against Crewe?
Pros and cons. When you're on a run, it's obviously nice to keep the games going. It's a lot easier carry momentum from one game into the next. But then you also look at it, stage of the season, people away in internationals. Rest is also equally something that we've spoken about before. That's quite important as well. And it has been such a heavy period. Obviously we've had a training week this week, but it has been a full-on intense period of games from probably from the turn of Christmas when you look at it. So I think it is a good opportunity for to give some rest and then have a real big push between now and the end of the season.
Couple of call-ups in your squad as well. Connor Coventry and Kane Kessler-Hayden. You mentioned Kane earlier, but it's a testament to how well they've been playing that these international coaches are paying attention to them.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think credit to the team as well as the players that have been called up. Obviously performing to the level that you have, and I think it's also a big compliment to the club. We've got players on loan here that are being called up in internationals. So it shows that the staff, the club are doing a good job of creating a platform for young international players to develop, to play, and to perform at a high level.
Last season, we saw it a fair bit, particularly in the early part of the season, the call-ups for Daniel Harvey and for Warren O'Hora. Obviously, they're not eligible anymore for the under-21 sides, but, I mean, how impressed have you been with those two this season?
Yeah, sometimes forget how young they are. Do you know what I mean? They're so mature, they're so professional, which, obviously been doing it a little while now in terms of working in and around the game, and I think it's one of the the challenges that we face is how do you really develop the elite professional behaviours that you need to to really perform week in, week out. And especially in young players, it's going to be inconsistent. You can expect that, but I think what the two guys you've mentioned there, turn up, attitude right, on point with every single thing they do every day, train to their maximum every day, really receptive and open to learning. And that's why they deliver week in, week out. And nothing but praise for them too, definitely.
I think certainly in the case of Danny, I think most people will have expected you to strengthen in that position, given that he probably wasn't first choice at the club last season. But he just feels like he's come on leaps and bounds, and now feels like he should be the automatic choice out there.
Yeah, but at the same point, I think our job's to praise him for the good things and recognise his progress. But at the same point, him, like a lot of the guys, and what we want here is people that are driven to get better and driven to improve. And I think that's why you've seen him do so well this season. He's, like I said, his attitude, his desire to win, how he competes in training every day. And he's still got bits to work on, like everybody has. But what you do know is what you're going to get week in, week out. Which again, from sitting in this position, you've got the element of trust in him now, where his attitude, his work rate, how he competes, his positional play, his defensive duties, his basics in possession are consistently there. It's now a case of tweaking and adding other little bits to it, to continue improving him as a player. But it's a lot easier to do that when they've got the character that he has.
And finally, I suspect I already know the answer to this one, but 8 games to go. Does the mentality shift at any point during these last 8 games, or are you still just carry on? This is exactly how we win games. Just carry on the way we are.
Yeah, of course. Look, not naive enough to say I'm never going to look at it and we're not going to, be aware of the situation. But yeah, I think you have to have the knowledge, you have to have the information, you have to be aware, but not to the point where it becomes a distraction, and that's where your attention goes. We'll gather the information that we need, and at the same point, I think the preparation, the messages to the players, the culture that we have, everything goes into making sure that we don't look beyond tomorrow, because it's going to be a tough one tomorrow.